Jema. Jema. Jema, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday Night Kalima Studies. I am Christie Smirl, spiritually known as Kalavati Devi, and tonight we're going over verse 37 of the Kalisahasranama. And in this journey, we've been going through the 1008 names of the Holy Mother. And currently we are going to be covering today names 288 to 297 out of 1008. So before we get started, let's go ahead and bring our hands to heart center, settle our minds and bring it into this present space. Take a nice inhale in. A second time. And a third. And let us give greetings to the Mother's beloved son, Ganesha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, Ekatantaya Vidmahe, Vakratundaya Dhimahi, Tanno Dantihi Prachodaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Ekatam Sraya Hasimakaya Lambodraya Uchistamahatvane Om Krom Rim Gege Swaha. Jema. All right, so let's take a listen to what the verse sounds like tonight. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Katyani. Good to have you here. Jema, Jema. So verse 37, this is what it sounds like. These are our names for the night. And remember, I always put the typed names from the verse in the description so you can see them visually as well. So this is what it sounds like this evening. Sarveshvari, sarvamātā. Sarvāṇī haravallabhā, sarvajñā, siddhidā, bhavyā, bhayāpahā. So let's look at each one of those words point by point. Namaste, good evening, Jema Kaku, good to see you, Karima. All right. So, name 288, Sarveshvari, Sarveshvari. She who is the supreme ruler of all is the generally understood meaning of this form of kalima. Sarva means everything, all. Sarveshvari is the sovereign female ruler, goddess, kalima, of all. And it's also she who is almighty, who has absolute command over all cosmic and atomic aspects of reality. Sarveshvari is also one of the 8 incarnations or emanations of Kalima as the goddess of speech. So Sarveshvari. Now, the next one sounds very similar, Sarvamata. We already said sarva means all. We've learned in other classes that mata means mother. So Sarvamata is the mother of all, the mother of everything, the mother of the entire universe. She, as Kalima, who sustains everything, who nourishes everything, who maintains everything in existence. How beautiful is that? Now the next name, Sarvajñā, very similar. Sarvajñā, she who dwells in all. So Sarva we know, and Sarva is also Shiva's water form. And Ani is the feminine denotation. So Sarvajñā is the female form of this emanation of Shiva. We always know that there's always a Shiva and a Shakti. We don't divide them up or pretend like they're separate. Sarvajñā is very interesting also because Sarvajñā, who is the goddess form, and Sarva, Shiva, Sarva Shiva, gave birth to the planet Mars, or Mangal Dev. And this is the planet associated with strength and vitality and also like warfare, but also logical thinking. And so when we see this form of the mother, we know that she is not only the dweller within all of us, the life force, the Shakti, the Kundalini inside all of us, but also the strength and the vitality. All right, let's take a look at an interesting name of Kali Ma, Haravallabha. Haravallabha. And this means she who is Shiva's strength. So we know that Shiva is the Holy Father, the cosmic and eternal, omnipotent, pure consciousness. And Haravallabha is the Shakti, or consort, or wife of Hara, Shiva. So Hara is another name for Shiva, and Vallabha means the wife of or the beloved of. So Haravallabha, the beloved form of Kali Ma that is directly associated with Shiva. Name 292, Sarvajñā. Sarva, we've already heard, everything or all, right? But Sarvajñā means she who is the knower of all. She who is omniscient, all-knowing, enlightened, or it also means she who is a poet. So we know that Ajna means third eye, right? The command center associated with the pineal gland, knowledge, intuition, wisdom, the third eye chakra, as well as comprehension beyond the ordinary. So when we look at this form of the mother, she is the all-knowing in the all-knowing command center. Beautiful name. Now, the next two names are very similar. Siddhidā and Siddha. Siddhidā and Siddha. First, let's look at 293. Siddhidā. She who is the giver of attainment of perfection. So that's how it's described in the Puja book. But Siddhi, we know, means an extraordinary accomplishment. Some people say that they are spiritual attainments. Some people say that siddhis are natural byproducts of spiritual development. And other people will categorize them as a supernatural or extraordinary power that might have been achieved through extraordinary manners. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. Oftentimes in yoga teacher training, people will ask, what's the difference between a siddhi and a shakti? So a siddhi is, well, first let's start with a shakti. So there are these powers and skills. A shakti is considered a natural occurring skill or ability. Maybe you're an artist and you paint. Maybe you're a great gardener. Maybe you're great at communication. Maybe you're, really abnormally great at something, or really passionate and good at a certain topic. That's a shakti that you have, like a talent, a skill, an interest, a passion. But a siddhi is something usually considered a bit more magical, right? And so the next name, we'll talk about what some of the most common siddhis are. So name 294, Siddha. Siddha. This means we understand she who has reached perfection. But when we look closer at this manifestation of Kali Ma, Siddha is usually a siddhi, a power that has been awarded by doing extra special spiritual sadhana. So, we talk about these stories all the time, right? There's these asuras, right? And they want these special boons. And so sometimes they stand on one leg for 10,000 years, or they, do mantras for all this time. They do special, potent, spiritual tapas. And then they are granted a special power. So when we're looking at siddhis, speaking of the mother's name, Siddha, there's generally, like if you read Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, just your standard sutras, they are included, siddhis are included in the descriptions. So we'll just look at 8 of the generally accepted siddhis. Anima is one of the siddhis, and this is the ability to shrink down very, 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 very tiny to the size of an atom, versus mahima, the ability to expand infinite in space. Laghima, the ability to become weightless and light or even levitate. Garima, this is the power to become very, very heavy and immovable. Prapti, the skill to reach any place and attain anything at will. Then there's 2 other siddhis that are usually in this list. One is the ability to fulfill any desire or achieve anything at will. And the last one is the ability to control material elements and forces of nature. So Siddha, she who has attained perfection, but it is also meaning she who is the power of all siddhis. So many times people will start on a tantric path and working with oblations and honoring Kalima, and there's often a lot of talk about siddhis and special skills that develop. But before we move on, I do want to comment on this siddhis and shaktis, because this is a topic that comes up often. Shaktis, special powers, skills, talents, are supposed to be nourished and encouraged. It's often one of the secret sauces or special keys that you've come here in this physical form with. Whereas siddhis, they often suggest that the yogi who develops unusual siddhis, that they ignore them. That they not necessarily ignore them, but they don't go chasing after trying to acquire, attain, and then practice, perfect, and use siddhis like a cheap parlor trick, because that's a waste of shakti. Sometimes when I talk about siddhis and other conversations, some siddhis are spiritual powers that have been granted that are, in my opinion, some are kind of silly siddhis. Like you hear about, perfected yogis or skillful yogis that can say, what's your favorite flower? And they say rose, and they say, smell my hand, and you can smell a rose. Like, how is that going to be practical in life? Some yogis are able to, move things with the power of their mind, or cause really unusual phenomenon. But really, what is the good of it? Maybe it comes in handy as an emergency here and there. Maybe you have it in the back pocket for a rainy day or a special occasion. But they usually recommend that if you do develop siddhis, that you don't go prancing them around and talking about them and boasting about them and trying to show everybody about them, because they can really become dangerous as a trap and a loop and a trick of the mind. So, all right, we'll move on. Oh, I missed one of them. It was on the other page. Vashishta, the power to control others, or the ability to subdue enemies and bring things under one's own mental influence. It's not always a good thing to be doing, but there's karma with everything we do. All right, name 295, bhavyā. So there's two names tonight that sound identical. Bhavyā and bhavyā. Bhavyā. The A long line is in a different placement, and they do mean something else, slightly different. So bhavyā with a short A means she who is existence. Bhavyā means splendid, radiant, excellent, auspicious, grand, graceful, or even magnificent. So bhavyā means also the synonym name of an Ayurvedic herb called long pepper plant or elephant apple. And this is a very prized medicinal herb. Now, name 296, bhavyā. It's a long first A. It's not just a different pronunciation, it's a different letter, it's a different meaning altogether. Means she who is all attributes. So now we're looking at Kali Ma and a different form. But when we look at this name, bhavyā, remember the long A is in a different section. It means to be conceived, to be in existence, to be present, or about to happen. And interestingly enough, it also means pretty, lovely, handsome, or again, auspicious. So the two words have some similar reference. We see the auspiciousness and the beauty. Right, last name for the night. Bhayāpahā. Bhayāpahā. And this is she who is beyond all fear. Bhayā, if you know the hand mudra, bhayā means to not fear, bhayā. But bhayāpahā means she who wards, protects, or removes danger and fear. Bhaya itself in that spelling means fear, dread, alarm, danger. And apaha means to take away or to remove. So it's very, very common iconography. We see Kali Ma. We've talked about this at least 20 times in our sessions. Abhaya is one of her very common hand mudras that she shows to remind us not to be fearful, not to be worrisome, not to be delayed in our dharma and our actions due to fear. The mother gives us great courage and strength. We looked at the different names of tonight that were associated with bringing our own energy into tight focus through siddhis. We're able to look at different names of the mother who is the knower of all, or she who is Shiva's strength, she who dwells in all things, she who is the mother of all and the supreme sovereign ruler. So these are the names of Kali Ma, different nuances each week. I hope that you are enjoying this series. If you haven't subscribed already, please hit subscribe so you can catch all of these in the series. And next week we will be going over verse 38, and we're going to crest into the 300s. So that means we're 1/3 of the way through almost. So thank you for joining, everybody, and I will see you all next Tuesday at the same time, 6 p.m. Pacific time. Thank you, Kari Kakuma. It's a nice warm day. I was on my rowing machine. I've been out in the sun, but not in the hot, hot heat. And then goofing off with my new puppies. You know, Vinny, Kari Kaku, when you come over next time, you have to meet the new puppy that we adopted. He's not a puppy. He's a little old guy. Actually, any of you, if you're watching this at another time, if you're friends of the ashram, come by, come visit us. And we always love to see you. Don't forget, we always have Saturday service at 10 o'clock. And it's always open door. It's always free. There's always lunch. Come by, see us. And otherwise, I will see everybody next week, 6 o'clock. Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ma.